was defended in the Second World War. Actually, you can see one monument there. It resembles the campfire, but actually those are... The tower is 150 meters high, and it has, and it has a restaurant on the top. And a great view.
Look me, please.
No, you're a tour guide. You're a tour guide.
So, to take photos and record something. On Oplinets Hill, the property of the foundation of King Peter I Karađorđević. When King Peter became king of Serbia at the beginning of the 20th century, 1803, he immediately came here to Topola, and there is a reason why. Because 100 years earlier, his grandfather, whose name was George Petrović and his nickname was Karađorđe, was chosen here by the people, local guys, to be the leader of the first Serbian uprising. And his grandfather lived here in Topola and built a fortified town at the beginning of the 19th century. So that's the reason why King Peter chose this place here to build his foundation, to build this church here, St. George Church, because his wish was all members of his family, of Karađorđević family, to be buried at one place. He started this church in 1910. So it was built between 1910 and 1912, but decorated a little later, and the decoration was postponed because of the Balkan Wars and the First World War. So that's the reason why King Peter chose this place, because his ancestors were here and his grandfather was the leader of the first Serbian uprising against Ottoman Empire, 1804. Now, please follow me. We'll enter the church. Oops. You see the connection. King Peter's grandfather, I mentioned him earlier, his name was George Petrović. George in English, George. So that's why this church is dedicated to Saint George. You see the portal above the central, this opening door. St. George killing the dragon. And when you come closer, you see that the face, it's not the face of St. George, it's actually the face of King Peter's grandfather, George Petrović, a leader of the first Serbian uprising. Now let's enter the church. That I was looking. Pay attention to this. The face represents the enemy and all the enemies that threatened the Serbian state.
Is that in the Bible, like a demon, like a devil?
Naravno, ovdje će sada biti totalno drugačije. Let's gather here, please. So this is St. George Church, foundation of King Peter and the family tomb of Karađorđević family. As I said, the church was built between 1910 and 1912 in Serbian Byzantine style, and the internal decoration, as I said, also postponed because of the Balkan Wars and the First World War, and it was done a little later, between 1923 and 1930. So King Peter didn't live long enough to see this church finished. He died in 1921, and his son, King Alexander, was the one who led the internal decoration of the church. As you can see, it's done in technique of mosaics. Just a few information. There are 725 compositions in the church here. Each composition respects that iconographic canon that applies to all Serbian Orthodox churches, of course. There are as I said, 725 compositions done in 15,000 shades, and more than 60 million little mosaic cubes were used to make all these compositions. When I'm talking about mosaic cubes, it's Murano glass, Venice, Italy. And all yellow areas, it's gold, 14 carats gold. I said that each composition respects the iconographic canon that applies to all Serbian medieval Orthodox churches, but I would like to draw your attention to one composition. On my left side is a gallery of Serbian medieval rulers. So I'm talking about the period 12th, 13th, 14th century, and each of them holds in their palm a model of their own foundation. And this gallery of Serbian medieval rulers ends, I would have to ask to follow me now. Very important. On this wall here.
Sorry.
Holding his head model of his own foundation, his church, St. George Church, and approaches Jesus Christ, who sits on the throne with his. He wants actually Jesus blesses his foundation, his work. The wish of King Peter was all members of his family to be buried at one place. So, 22 members of Karađorđević family rest here at the church. In this upper part of the church, you can probably see rest founder of this dynasty, leader of the first Serbian uprising, George Petrović, whose nickname was Karađorđe, and his grandson, founder of this church, King Peter II. Other 20 members rest at the crypt. Now, I will ask you to follow me to the crypt to show you and hear a few words about that too. There is a reason why I'm standing here. When I finish, you will stand if you want, of course. Hear yourself. Very interesting. So here, in the crypt, rest other 20 members of Karađorđević family. Among them, 2 rulers, King Peter's father, Prince Alexander, he ruled Serbia in the middle of 19th century, and King Peter's son, King Alexander. History knows him as the unifier. He was actually the one who unified Serbs, Croats, and Slovenians in 1918 because his wish was all Slovenian people to live in the same country. That's the reason why he did it. And partly that's the reason why he was killed. He was brutally assassinated in Marseille during official visits to France on October the 9th, 1934, by Croatian Ustashas and one Macedonian organization, and of course foreign countries had their interest in that. They didn't want so powerful country to be on the Balkans, and that's the reason why he was assassinated. His host on that occasion was the Minister of Foreign Affairs of France, Mr. Louis Barthou. He also lost his life on that occasion. So he died in 1934. It was forbidden for members of Karađorđević family to be buried at this church from the 1947 until 1991. Government after the Second World War took them their citizenships, forbade them to come back to their country, and of course forbade them to be buried here. So first official funeral after that was in 1991, and the last funeral was in the year 2000 when one of three sons of King Alexander died, Prince Tomislav Karađorđević. So now take your time, have a look. I will be here if you have any questions. Thank you. I have to follow the schedule, your schedule.
What do you say you have to say here?
Stand and say something.
Hello? You can hear yourself? Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's the voice.
Say something.
Is there something special for this?
Because of the sound.
The sound?
Stand,
Okay.
stand on this podium and
Then,
say something.
hello? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's right.
สะท้อนเข้าหู Something like echo.
That's the top of the architecture.
Louder, louder.
Far in the ground. You see, King Alexander wanted this to look like a